All right, let's jump into this. We're looking at the most recently revealed set in Japan, Triplet Beat. So last night, all of the cards from Triplet Beat were revealed. All the main cards, not the Skeledirge, obviously, but all the regular cards, the ones that we need to know about. So we're going to start out here with Tropius. Tropius, 110 HP, Leaf Drain for 20, and Tropical Winds does 130. Move all energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. So the reason I'm highlighting this card is it does maybe see some sort of use as a single price attacker, mostly in a deck that runs like Cherim from Battle Styles, I believe it is, that just attaches energy to non-rule box Pokemon. So in theory, you could use that to flood the energy onto Tropius and then move all the energy onto something with a rule box and get some damage off that way. Basically, it's a very roundabout means of energy acceleration, but maybe it's okay in the right situation. I do wish it had free retreat. That would make it a lot better, but it doesn't. So, Fungus and Amoonguss are both bulk. Sprigatito with the gorgeous artwork. Sprigatito, gather sunshine, search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So here you're just baiting the judge. And then there's Sprigatito with 70 HP, Dead Claws, Florigato, Seed Bomb, and Magic Whip. So this is what you do if you're very desperate to attack with a Pokemon that is not your fully evolved Meowscarada. And then Meowscarada X. This is the first Pokemon X from the set. The ability Magic Bouquet. You must discard a grass energy card from your hand in order to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and put 3 damage counters on it. So quite a bit more than, say, a Galarian Zigzagoon, but you do have to do a grass energy in order to use that ability. So similar to Inteleon VMAX, not the one from Rebel Clash, but the one from Fusion Strike, where you discard a water energy for a similar effect. So this is going to set up your Nail Scratch attack. Nail Scratch does 100 damage, and then if your opponent's active Pokemon already has damage counters on it, the attack does 120 more. So you're going to be hitting 220, and it's already going to have 3 damage counters on it, hopefully. So basically, effectively 250. Not super great, but if you have more than one Meowscarada out, you can pile that damage on pretty quickly. There's a trainer card that'll help make that possible. So you can use 2 or even 3 Magic Bouquet each turn. Really ramp that damage quickly. So yeah, you're not hitting great damage with just the attack, but you do also have Magical Bouquet to take into consideration. So as long as you get the energy, you're pretty good. Do think this is one of the better archetypes we've seen so far from Triplet Beat, and I am looking forward to testing this as soon as we start testing Triplet Beat. Nimble and Lockix. So Assault Kick 30 plus, so 130 if it evolved from Nimble. That's pretty low, but it is for single energy. I mean, maybe in like 3-4-5 format, but not in standard. Not unless there's like eventually Lockix X that has some really good effect, and then you could use this as like a single pricer to knock stuff out. But as is, not good. Paldea Tauros, Akira Garwa bringing the crazy fire artwork here. Some just very good artwork for Tauros. Fury Horn, 20 plus damage. His attack does 10 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So at most you're doing 140. Not impressive at all. Blaze Dash 120. Again, not very impressive. Just an attack. We have Larvesta and Volcarona. Cloak 30. So yeah, this is all bulk. It's a common in Japan. So yeah, it's crap. Let's see here. Litleo, burn down, discard a stadium card in play. So that could maybe see some play as a stadium counter. If there's a good Pyroar, which let's see. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned with Singe and Overrun 60. So nope, that's not good either. And it has a retreat cost of 2, so it's not even a free retreater. Yikes. Okay, Oricorio, Passionate Dance. Once during your turn, heal 20 damage from your active evolution Pokemon. and then Flutter for 30. This, I think, is good, but it's going to be good with Skeledirge. So let's look at Skeledirge real quick. So Skeledirge says, Vitality Song, 50 damage, heal 30 from each of your Pokemon, and then Burning Voice, 270 minus. This attack does 10 damage less for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So you could do 270 for 2 energy, which is really good, actually, considering how bulky this Pokemon is. I mean, basically think of it as an Eternatus VMAX. That's pretty decent damage-wise. And that's a fully powered up one, too. And then, so if you use something like Magma Basin to help yourself power up, you're going to be putting 20 damage on Skeledirge. You're going to be damaging it. So if you have an Oricorio down, you can heal that off real quick. The only big negative I see for Skeledirge is the fact that if your opponent doesn't one-shot you, let's say they do 200 damage to you, you're only doing 70. So you're going to need something like a Cheryl, but then you're not being able to attach and get the second energy on there somehow. Like you have to have the Magma Basin, a switch. So Skeledirge could be a little clunky, I think, but it might be very good because the damage is not anything to scoff at. I think it's a pretty good damage. Definitely worth being aware of. We did skip over these Fuecocos. I just wanted to point out, this boy has 90 HP. Who has been feeding Fuecoco? Who fed Fuecoco? Stop doing that. Apparently it was while he was on this shopping trip because he's eating apples. Love these arts. I'm so glad they decided to continue doing these. I'm also very glad they got rid of the rainbow rares because I would 100% of the time rather have these alternate arts than any of the rainbow rares that we've had. Alright, Paldean Tauros is the water type version. Fury Horns is exactly the same as the first one, and Water Dive, so just a 60 snipe. Again, also not very good. Magikarp, with artwork by one of my new favorite artists, Shinji Kanda. So you see the Gyarados in the background there, and then that Magikarp. It's just really pretty art. I like it, really like it. Like, this isn't the best image for it. It's kind of blurry, but I love the style. I like the detail, right? It's like a doodle you do on your journals or your notebooks during class or something. Really, really pretty stuff. Skill jump, 10 plus damage, flip 2 coins. If both their heads, attack does 20 more damage. So a less than ideal Magikarp, but cool art. And Gyarados has 180 HP. Wow. That is some high HP for a stage 1. And that's a single prizer too. That's all blurry. Revenge Storm, 80 plus damage. If you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, this attack does 100 more damage. I feel like Gyarados and having stupid expensive attacks. At least you can do this for 2, right? You water and double colorless. So 180 for 2 attachments, or double colorless and expanded. A double turbo is still only 160 in standard. This is just too expensive. And then Berserker does 200, and then 50 to itself. So yeah, I got all this HP. Yeah, let me get rid of that HP. I don't like Gyarados. Delibird, Double Draw, and Ice Wing, that's just bulk. Weasel is bulk. Floatzel. Flip a coin if heads. Put your opponent's active Pokemon and all cards attached to it in your opponent's hand. We've seen cards like this before. It's a little interesting that's on stage 1. Generally, they're not very good, although I'm sure somebody like LDF or Donald will do a video on this and have some fun with it. But competitively, not great. And then we have Quexley. Again, great artwork for Quexley. Gel Up. That's cute. Gel Up, 20 damage if your opponent's active Pokemon tries to attack during your opponent's next turn. Your opponent flips a coin if tails that attack fails. That is not modern wording for that effect, but you get the idea. So it's a way to stall up. Unfortunately, you do have to pay 2 energy to do that, so not feeling great. Quaxwell, everybody skips the middle evolution because Rare Candy exists. Quaquaval X, Lively Samba, 60 damage. Switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Then your opponent switches their active with one of their bench Pokemon. This is an escape rope as an attack built in. So you do 60 damage to their Pokemon and then switch into something else, like maybe a Klefki or a Empoleon. So if you switch into an Empoleon, you'll have a target for Melly, which could then you can use the attack on that to move an energy onto Quaquaval. So not too bad. And then you have Propeller Shot for 230 damage. And then put 2 of those. So basically put the energy you're using to attack with Propeller Shot back into your hand. I do not like the damage output on this, and especially since you're putting both of the energies back into your hand. That feels really bad. 230 is not great. Like even with a Lively Samba and a Propeller Shot, that's still only 290. That's super underwhelming. And then all that is coupled with being weak to lightning. Quaquaval, you got the shaft, I'm sorry to say. You are no good. Watchel. Okay, so when I translated this card, I was very excited because I thought there was going to be a new Mad Party effect. Dangerous Wings does 20 damage for each Pokemon in your discard pile that has Dangerous Wings. But this is the only card in the set that has Dangerous Wings. So, maybe we'll get some in the next, in Clay Burst and whatever the other pair set is for that. But like, nope, just Dangerous Wings. That's it. Love the art. Love Watchel. Watchel is one of my favorite Pokemon from Scarlet and Violet. Simple design, but a cute Pokemon all the same. But yeah, you're doing a maximum of 80 damage, and that's assuming you're copying this attack with Ditto. So, that's not good. Even in a low HP format like 3-4-5, it's just not good. It's not. Watchel, Devastating Wind. Your opponent shuffles their hand in their deck and draws 4 cards. So basically, you're gonna give your opponent a fresh hand of 4 cards. I don't see that being very good. I just don't. Yeah. If it were lower, like maybe 2 or 3, sure. I don't know. This is one of those cards where like just play a Judge, just play a Roxanne, just play anything that does this that isn't. I don't know. It's something that at least benefits you, because as this stands, you're not even helping yourself, right? You're not seeing more cards. You're just giving your opponent a fresh hand. So like, unless you know they have a stacked hand, this doesn't help you. Kilowatt Troll, so 20 damage, and then Jet Wing does 150, and you can't attack during your next turn. So this is very similar to Flygon, I believe it is, from Crown Zenith. It does have free retreat, so that's good. But 150 is not that great, and you're having to power it up for 3. 3 colorless, but still 3. Misdreavus. Okay, so you get the sleep effect. That's good. Not even on a coin flip, which is nice. Yeah, no coin flip. Miss Magia's Magical Flick. So when you play this card from your hand to evolve on your Pokemon during your turn, you may choose an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon and move it to one of their benched Pokemon. So you're basically getting the effect of an Importer when you play it down. This is very much a control card. Seems good though. Also, I love that art. That is some good art. I really wish we had a better image for it, but that's still really cool art. Yeah, this is control all the way. I can't wait to see what Standard does with it. Spoink and Grumpig. Grumpig, power step, search your deck for 2 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like, then shuffle your deck. So this is a stage 1 version of Arceus V, basically, but it attaches to whatever. And it's only 2 energy. So it'd be really good if it were on a basic. But on stage 1, it's like it's a turn too late. Maybe if there's like like an alternate format that doesn't have abilities, maybe that's better. But yeah, I don't see that being worth it, to be honest. Detonax. So this is a Terrestrial Pokemon. All of the Terrestrial Pokemon have the same. I know people are like, oh, they're gonna do something cool they're gonna change up the effect. No, they're not. They said this is the effect for all of them, so this is the effect for all of them. This Pokemon doesn't take any damage from attacks while on the bench, so you get built-in bench barrier. Anyway, Tail Swap, move all damage counters from one of your bench Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon, and then Wonder Shot for 170. When I first saw this card, because this has been a real while ago, when I first saw this card, I thought, oh, that's pretty freaking good. But here's the thing. Okay, let's say you pile up a bunch of damage on Gardevoir. So you're getting to up to like what, 320? I think Gardevoir is 330, 340. So you're 10 HP away from knocking yourself out, we'll say. and you put Detonate in the active spot, put enough energy on it so you can use Tail Swap, move all the energy, knock out whatever's in front of you. So unless you're knocking out a VMAX or a V-Union, you're not helping your prize trade at all. Because Detonate is a 170 HP Pokemon that gives up 2 prize cards. So while at first glance it's like, oh, Gardevoir could maybe use that, I think it's just too situational, right? I think there are better options. Like Drifloon is a better option. A second copy of Zacian is a better option. What was it? There's a Cresselia that's a better option. Like, there's just better choices. So Detonate, yeah, you're not it. A Rangaroo, Tactician's Strategy. Choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks. During your opponent's next turn, they can't use that attack. Now, this would be great if it were a 1 energy cost. There's a Ralts that has an attack like that. That's really devastating if you can get it to work. But, yeah, that's too, like, at that point, it's just too much. And then super, like, you're not even benefiting yourself with a secondary attack. It's just, like, trying to stall with this. Like, if you're really desperate as Gardevoir, just throw the Curly, or just throw the Ralts into the active spot, not this. At least you're already running the Ralts. The Rangaroo is just extra bulk. Alright, Tinkatink. Sad Face Tinkatink goes collect. Another Sad Face Tinkatink with Brutal Swing. So, they evolve. Tinkatuff, Light Punch for 30, Boundless Power for 80. This is what you run if you are really desperate to evolve up into Tinkaton. Alright, Tinkaton. Tinkaton has Gather Materials. You must discard a card from your hand in order to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may draw 3 cards. So this is Power Draw. If you're familiar with Swampert from Celestial Storm, this is Power Draw. And then Special Hammer, 90 plus damage. If this Pokemon has any special energy attached, this attack does 90 more damage. So this is Special Laser from Necrozma, but on a stage 2 instead of a basic Pokemon. Not very good. Here's the thing. Gather Materials is a great ability, but it has to compete, right? This card does not exist in a vacuum. It has to compete with the Kirlia engine, which is huge after rotation. So Kirlia engine has the discard draw 2 on the Kirlia. It has Mirage Step on a different Kirlia. It has Refinement on the stage 2, so you can discard draw 2 again. It has the other Gardevoir has both Energy Acceleration and Draw. And then there's, of course, Gardevoir X itself that does the energy acceleration. You also have Gallade that has Buddy Catch. Like, that Kirlia line has so much going for it. And all Tinkaton has is draw an extra card. It's not enough. Now, if Tinkatuff said something like, what is it? The Dragon's Exalted Roselia, or it's like, search your deck for a card on evolution, then maybe this would be worth considering, right? Because then you evolve into Tinkatuff, you search for the card, on the next turn you evolve into a Tinkaton, and it turns into a draw engine. That would be great. Super good engine at that point. I think it's actually worth considering. However, as it stands now, this is bulk. All right, Diglett and Dugtrio, they are bulk. Paldean Tauros is bulk. Makuhita and Hariyama. Hariyama, supporting act. All of your Pokemon take 10 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So, that's stage 1. So, bulk. Rockruff and Lycanroc X. Okay, Lycanroc for Rock Throw, 40 damage. And then Scary Fang does 140 damage. During your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, even if it's knocked out, put 10 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So you're doing 240 for 2 attachments, although you're probably having to run double turbo to get there. So you're actually only doing 220. That feels bad. And then they can just, like, rope you, too. And you don't even have that much HP. Like, you're a stage 1, and 260 isn't horrible, but it's not very good either. Like, stuff can one-shot you. Like, Raichu V can easily one-shot you. I don't know. I think Lycanroc is just not good. I'm sure I'll tinker around with the card and see maybe if there's something I can do to make it work. But I don't think it's going to be very competitive. It's going to be one of those decks you bring to League just to mess with somebody. Because this is a very similar effect to Drake Adult VMAX. This is gonna be exactly that kind of thing where you just bring it to mess with whoever's at your league that runs some random deck that's weak to it, and then that's it. That's what you do. You bring it to troll, but it's not something you bring to be competitive. Phalanx, so headbutt 20, coordinated attack 70 plus. If you have any Phalanx on your bench, this deck does 90 more damage. So you're doing 160 damage with Phalanx for 3 attachments, or 140 damage for 2 because of double turbo's damage reduction. Yeah, that feels bad. This is be a recurring theme with this set. Yeah, it feels bad. Paldean Wooper, Stampede Mischief, Find a Home, and Happy Swamp, little Paldean Wooper. So search for a stadium card, reveal it, and put it in your hand. Paldean Clodsire. Alright. Poison Bog. Once during your turn, if there's a stadium in play, you may leave your opponent's active Pokemon poisoned. So this is Rebel Clash Garbodor as a stage 1. And Pokemon X. So Garbodor obviously is already a stage 1. This is now a Roblox Pokemon. And then Needlebone, 200 damage, flip a coin if Tails' Pokemon can't attack during next turn. So it doesn't even work really with the poison. At least give it a Venoshock. Alright, so yeah, there's no world where this is good, is there? The damage is too low. There's no real way to boost poison damage other than the Radiant Hisuian Sneasler? That's just bad. Alright, Sableye. The Happy Sableye. Unseen Claw, 20 plus damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is affected by a special condition. It does 70 more. If you want to do inadequate damage, you've got Clodsire and Sableye now. Seviper. Alright, Crosscut, 50 plus 50 if it's evolution. Also feels really, really bad. What is it with these Pokemon? This set's terrible. Alright, Dino. Ambush for 20 is Vilas. Find a Friend. And then Tryhowl. Okay, Tryhowl. Once during your turn, you may look at the top 3 cards of your deck and attach any number of energy cards you find there to your Pokemon in any way you like. Discard the other cards. So you don't even get to draw them. I mean, if you need to mill the crap out of your deck, this is not a bad option. But it is a stage 2. With nothing on the stage 1 to be useful. And it's a rare, which means it's going to be taking one of our hollow slots. Yay. Bad. Alright, Salazzle is bulk. These are all bulk. Yungoos, Knock Away, Headbang, Crunch. Crunch, also not great. Alright, so that's all the Pokemon. Ooh. I really hope that these sets featuring, well, it's Clayburst and what is the other one? It was gonna look janky for you guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna look at this real quick. I can't remember the name of the next set. It's Clayburst and Snow Hazard. So Clayburst and Snow Hazard. I hope they have great stuff in them because this set is dog crap. Alright, so Superior Energy Retrieval. Discard 2 cards from your hand. If you can't discard 2 cards, you can't play this card. Put 4 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand, and you can't choose a card you discarded with the effect of this card. So this is a great option for Meowscarada. Right, Meowscarada wants those energies in hand so that it can discard them with its ability, the Magical Bouquet, to do a bunch of damage and ramp up damage against its opponent. So that's not too bad. Definitely worth having that in Standard again. We get a Great Ball reprint, also nice. Dendra, put a card from your hand at the bottom of your deck, then draw cards once you have 5 in hand. And you can't play if it's the last card in your hand. That's terrible. Just play Karina's Focus. That is so bad. The art's great, but that is a terribly unplayable card. Alright, Clavel. Search deck for up to 3 basic Pokemon that have 100 or 20 less HP and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So part of the reason I was really hoping they would go back on the rules for the first turn supporter is so that cards like this could actually see play. They don't, because if you're going first, you can't even play this. And so then is a dead card like 90% of the game. Like, yeah, you're searching out 3 basic Pokemon, which is really good if you're trying to set yourself up. And you're putting them in your hand, which is also really good. Like, I could see maybe an Eternal format as being a one of, just so you can grab like a Zelf and Lapras and probably a Baltoy. But that's only if you're going second or like midway through the game. In standard though, and then definitely expanded, this is just bad. They could have made this so much better too. They could have put like, you know, you can play this card if you're going first. Like any of these setup cards could be good. They could still get around the whole first turn supporter thing if they just gave them a clause that said, "Hey, you can still play this card if you're going first." They did that with Beauty. Beauty draws you 2 cards and you can play it on your first turn. But for whatever reason, the setup cards that shouldn't cause any problems, they won't let you do. Like it's not even like it's a judge, right? It's just a search for Pokemon. I don't know. That aspect of the rule really frustrates me. Faulkner, draw 2 cards. If you have a stadium in play, draw 2 more. I wish this were just if there is a stadium in play, but then this card would see a lot of play. Like probably too much. I don't know. Drawing 2 is not that great. And then drawing 4 is great, but you have to have a stadium card in play. So let's say you have like Artisan in play, right? So you're drawing 4. But if your opponent has something in play, you're drawing 2. And if they have the same thing in play, you're still drawing 2, and you can't bump it either. It feels too situationally good to be good. It's going to be one of those cards that at most he's played like a one of for desperation measures. All right. Boss's Orders gets a reprint with Getsis. So this will be our first silver bordered Boss's Orders, which I, for one, welcome. And then I mentioned Artisan earlier. Artisan says once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a basic Pokemon, excluding Pokemon with the rule box, and play it onto their bench. Then that player shuffles their deck. So pretty good effect. Let's each player set up. And it does go straight to the bench, so they can't be like, I'm gonna get myself a Luminion and find a supporter card. It just finds it. So that's actually pretty good. I think decks that are really wanting to set up might run that. I could even see something like Lost Box playing 1 or 2 copies of that in addition to Beach Court, assuming it can find the room for it. Lesson Studio. The attacks of each player's Stage 1 evolution Pokemon do 10 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. So this is very reminiscent of something like there was a stadium in Crimson Invasion that boosted the damage of Dragon and Darkness Pokemon. This is very similar, but it's for Stage 1's Pokemon specifically. Maybe. If you need Stadium Bump and the plus 10 damage, I could see the same play. Like, Vitality Band might be better in a lot of situations, or even Defiant Band. But, yeah, maybe. Jet Energy. This is one of the best cards in the set. I'm just going to say that right now. Jet Energy. So Jet Energy is a special energy that says, as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides colorless energy. So when you attach this Pokemon from your hand to one of your bench Pokemon, switch that Pokemon with your active Pokemon. So you're now suddenly getting your bench Pokemon to the active spot with an energy on it. So especially, again, Lost Box loves this. So you attach it to one of your bench Comfey, throw it in the active spot, use Flower Selecting, discard it to retreat to a third Comfey, and then use its Flower Selecting. Card's good. I think it's actually one of the best cards in the set so far, and it'll 100% see play. Very, very good. And then there's Luminous Energy, a very pretty energy card, and it's our Rainbow Energy for this generation. So as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides every type of energy, but provides only 1 energy at a time. If the Pokemon this card is attached to has any other special energy attached to it, this card provides 1 colorless energy instead. So very similar to multi-energy, if you're familiar with that. In fact, it's basically the same effect. So you throw this on to a Pokemon to fulfill whatever cost you need, and then attach some basic energies to fill the rest. Or if this is all, then that's all. I could see this potentially being useful for Regis, as like a last ditch, let me fill a specific retreat or a specific attack cost kind of thing, right? You throw one of these on there with some basic energies to fulfill the attack cost of the Regis and the Regigigas deck. Other than that, I don't know how much play this is going to see out of the gate, but I think it's pretty decent still. I don't think Lugia wants this because Lugia wants to attach lots of special energy, but this is also still a colorless energy even when attached with other special energy. So maybe it does want to see. Maybe it does want to play with it. I just don't know if it's better than like just playing the single strike build that's currently popular in Japan with single strike energy and like Sojourner and Tyranitar. But that is it. That is all for Triplet Beat. Honestly, a pretty underwhelming set. We have maybe 2 decent attacking Pokemon out of the set with Skeledirge and Meowscarada. Meowscarada probably the most promising, although Skeledirge is pretty close. They both require a little bit of setup and maneuverability to get them going full bore, but I am looking more forward to Clay Burst and Snow Hazard now. After seeing Triplet Beat, really disappointed. I'm also kind of upset that like, you know, when they announced Scarlet and Violet's era, they were talking about how comeback cards would be the huge thing. And like there's nothing here that's comebacky at all, right? That's nothing. This isn't comebacky. This is just recovery. This isn't comebacky. This isn't like none of this is a comeback card at all. Which is frustrating, right? Because they could have printed they could have printed Rocket's Admin, they could have printed Custom Catcher, they could have printed Twins, they could have reprinted Pow Hand. They could have printed a number of cards, reprinted anything, and then you have to really try to get a new effect back into the format and say, hey, look, here's a comeback card, here's an option. Counter Energy, there's another one. Like there are a lot of different ways they could have allowed for some comebacks in the standard format, and they haven't. They, you know, despite their promise. Now, again, this is only the 3rd set we're seeing in Japan so far. We have a lot left to see for Scarlet and Violet. We haven't finished the first year. We haven't even gotten 5 sets in. But it is a little underwhelming. I was hoping we would see a lot more comebacky stuff pretty much right out of the gate. But I do wonder if they're being a little bit cautious because of Pokemon VMAX and Pokemon V Star. With that said, guys, thank you for watching. I'm Justin Basil. Please leave a like if you liked the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next one.